Good morning there, YouTubers, God's owners. Gonna make another little video concerning the Truthiracy guy, but not so much directly directed at him, but just a notion or a thought I had this morning about the information that Truthiracy and Truthiracy 3 and his type of folks espouse is it good for us? What does it do for us? What does it do to us? I woke up this morning, checked my emails, and there was a guy on there that left me a message on my YouTube account, and what the message says is, "Hey fuckface, yeah, I know who you are, gay-wide. ADL, what's that? Another dude's lips? Ha ha ha, fag." Now obviously this guy is immature. Obviously he's probably a young guy, I would think. But I want you to stop and think a minute about, where does this mentality come from? Where does this nastiness emanate from? Now, I know guys like Truthiracy, most of them think they're trying to help society. Most of them trying to think about waking us and shaking us off of Christ. They're going to do some kind of good because they feel that's the truth, and if we get closer to the truth, then everything's going to be better. But I ask you to take a look at that guy's attitude. Now, versus a kid that was raised in the Christian church, even if it is a plastic, no roots, no conviction church. Children are most likely taught better aptitudes and better what would be the word? Just better behavior, for lack of a better word, and then how to behave and act than what that guy just exhibited. My point is, for all the flaws you see in Christianity, and God knows, I know you see a bunch of them because they were put there on purpose. For all the flaws you see in Christianity and all the idiots that has been placed at the top of the Christian totem poles, as in who are supposed to be our leaders, such as Jim and Tammy Faye Baker and Jimmy Swaggart and Earl Roberts, and it just goes on and on and on and on. All these people that has been forced in your belief system as to associate with Christianity. Even those people in those types of churches have a better operable system in raising youth than what the system of truth that you guys are trying to get out to Americans today. And I shouldn't say Americans, to the world, really. And when I say truth you're trying to get out, I'm referring to the stuff that was taught in the different stages of higher education, such as many of the informational things you can easily look up and see in the movie Zeitgeist, for one, where it is so important for the people who are under this spell of truth, I'll call it, to share and get other people to think about these things. I said this in one of the other videos, and I think it's worth reiterating. Are you going to be left with a better workable system once this truth is permeated through society? Think about the way this young chap we just talked. Think about Marilyn Manson concerts. Think about, because Marilyn Manson is a very intelligent guy when it comes to spiritual things, the things that you're talking about, espousing. I mean, he's well studied in spiritual beliefs, and he's been chasing that truth a whole hell of a lot longer than you have. Look what it's done for him. I mean, sure, he makes a lot of money and stuff, but is what he's emanating from that darkness, that death, glorifying death constantly with the white paint, black eyes, which is, to glorify death. Just like the movement we see today with the skulls all over our little kids' t-shirts, that we don't seem to have the ability to wonder who those shirts are glorifying. They're glorifying death. And we can say that, oh, it's bullshit because everybody does it. I got a drawer full of skull shirts myself. Don't change the fact that you're actually walking around with a picture glorifying death. As if to say, ooh, death rocks. Well, death don't rock. Death is not a cool thing at all. And when you get on that deathbed, you'll find out just how much you've been tricked by the glory and by emulating the death with the skull things, and then emulating the darkness through music like Marilyn Manson and stuff like that. It appeals to you. It even appeals to much older people on a level that they'll never understand. But I think, again, it's worth asking yourself, what are we going to end up with by exposing this so-called truth? And then you can ask yourself, well, would it be better to live a lie? And I present to you that Jesus Christ was not a lie. Jesus Christ is a notion that exists beyond your reality, because what your reality is today is an illusion. It's not real. These flesh bodies, I mean, they're a temporary state. They're not a fixture that's going to last at eternity. It's just a temporary state. A temporary state that you can think of it as a test to find out where your heart is, to find out if you love God or not, because that's all God really wants to know. He don't give a shit how smart you are. He could care less. God could make computers if he wanted smartness. Didn't need people for that. God don't care how good you are at figuring out puzzles and shit. He's only concerned about what are you going to come out with at the end that you finish that puzzle. What are you going to come up with? Are you going to come up with a loving soul that's loving God? Or are you going to come up with a hater, somebody who's always trying to better God and disprove God and throw away God's plan that God had put in place through people? Tear down a destroyer. Are you going to want to be a destroyer, or are you going to want to be a builder? Think about society. Are you more happy in a society where your kid can hop on a bicycle and pedal down the street without some pedophile picking him up and raping him and killing him? Are you happy with that kind of society? With a belief and love for Jesus Christ conforms us in a way that we can have a society that not everybody is a wretched animal. Not everybody is a Marilyn Manson. Not everybody is like a Masonic who a top-line Masonic, I should say, who believes in opening doors through the butt of a young kid. I mean, that's a hell of an existence that the world finds itself in today. The world without Jesus Christ, without belief and conviction in Jesus Christ, is a hell of a place. Now, I know somebody mentioned something about Buddhism and stuff like that. And it's not fair to say that society can exist without Jesus Christ and be a viable, operational thing. I personally believe that the only way through to God is how Jesus said, through me, Jesus speaking, saying the only way to get to the Father is through me. Because to me it makes perfect sense. Because there was that price paid. Buddha never really paid a price for the sins of man. There was no sacrifice. Buddha never really did anything but share knowledge. And grant you, some of his knowledge is workable. Some of it's common sense, a sense of fair play, and decentness, as in with most any God that a person can worship. But without that price, without that paying the ticket, the blood price for people's sins, I think you're going to come to a door that you can't pass. Because, I mean, that's the system is designed as to that's what it takes. So, I guess in short, what I just wanted to say by reading that guy's hideous comments on the YouTube is that he's probably had a lifetime, a young lifetime, of this type of knowledge. He probably hates Christians. He probably hates everything about them, and for a large part, I can understand why. Christians have been perceived as being buffoons and idiots, and it's easy to lump all Christians in that bag. I understand how it happened. I understand who did it, and I understand why it's like that. I also understand that the medicine that you're getting from the truths being espoused by people like Truthiracy and the zeitgeist movie makers and the thousands of people just like them, I do believe that that medicine that you're getting from that truth ain't really serving you no better. It's making you bitter, it's making you black, and I can say, I know Truthiracy said that I threw the first, how do you phrase it, I cast the first stone, I drew first blood by calling him an asshole. But Truthiracy, you have to understand that when you say Jesus was a bunch of bullshit, and that you say that Christians are following a book, a dead book, you drew the first blood right there. It's not that I drew first blood, as in I drew my conclusions for what you said, from what you said, which is you're already attacking Christians, everything that Christian stands on. Their foundation is Jesus Christ. And when you come out and say in your videos, Jesus is all bullshit and we're all a bunch of confused followers of a lie, then there went first blood. And me calling you asshole, I mean, it wasn't a nice thing by no means, but surely saying Jesus is not who he says he was is certainly not very nice either. When you are trying to convert Christians to your way of believing, to get them to wake up, as your kind calls it, to come into this reality, this truth. So anyway, the whole thing is you can't really win by waking people up to a reality without Jesus Christ. All you can do is degrade society into a deep, horrid black state, which the world was before Jesus came. Remember, the Bible talks about all the Baal type worshippers and things that were running rampant at the time. Hell, they all had the same truths and things that you have today. I mean, most of the shit that you know came off of walls that were scratched thousands of years ago in the walls of Babylon, the walls of pyramids, and so on and so forth. About the Watchers, the Anunnakis, and all those types of things. It's nothing new. The world wasn't no damn peachy keen place back then. What makes you think that if you delineate Christianity out of it today, that you're going to end up with anything better than you had back then? People walking around throwing their children at Baal, making them pass through fire, killing their own children for sacrifice. It's wasn't that great back then, man. I mean, it's not really great now, but shit, at least you can walk down the street most of the time without having somebody club you in the head and robbing you, and all these horrible acts of darkness being put upon you. So from that aspect, I think Christianity works. I think it works better than anything else. In this country, you're pretty blessed to be here in a country that was built by Christians, people who were, as in y'all's words, fooled by the whole Christian concept. It was because of that Christian concept this country was built. It's because of that Christian concept we have what is known as a sense of decency. And the more and more we get away from Jesus Christ, you can see it with your own two eyes, the more and more we slip out of a sense of decency. More and more people are being awakened to your truth, and at the same time, parallel, the world is going to shit deeper and deeper, faster and faster. So put the two things together. What was the thing that was holding us all together? That Christian faith, my friend. That's what was holding us together. That's what was keeping us all in a place where we lived in this bubble of decency. Whether we were deceived or not by some, and by some aspects of Christianity, makes no difference. And to my way of looking, we were better off for Christianity than we're going to be without it. And I make that judgment just on looking today with how much Christianity has been lost versus how much we used to have in this country. There seems to be a paradoxical what would be the word, parallelness between the decline of the morals of the world. It walks hand in hand with the decline in belief and ability to believe on Jesus Christ. For good or bad, there it is. Okay, I just wanted to share a few more thoughts with you after I read that guy's comment, which I find disturbing, but at the same time I completely understand how it happened. We were all played by the same people, and they are the devil's own. And I think much of the knowledge that is being espoused on the internet today is all a part of that. I think that's why we think the way we do, and that's why we have the troubles we do. So anyway, God's owners, people of Earth, we will talk at you again later. Adios.